Hello everyone, my name is Kwamia Ross and today I'm going to be giving you exposure of my current living situation. Now, back in 2019, I had to leave my three-bedroom home in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where I was living in a townhouse with my children. We had a patio, we had a basement, the children had their own room, we had furniture, we had everything. And I was working at when I was in Pennsylvania. I'd moved there because the God that sent me down there, and I'd moved there with my children. And the Lord had ended up giving me a job and blessed me. And I had two jobs, about three jobs. I started a temporary job while I was down there, but I had two jobs, two main jobs where I was at full time, and I was attacked on both of these jobs. Now, if you want to know what's going on in the kingdom of darkness, please watch my video exposing evil corporations, because this is happening all over where people are attacking us spiritually, demonic people who are doing Satan's work, who do not want the kingdom of light, children of God, to have anything. They feel like everything in this earth is theirs because they say Satan gave it to them, but Satan does not have anything. Everything in this earth is God's and it belongs to him. And the kingdom of darkness has stolen everything from God's people. And God is now trying to wake his saints up, his real church up, his true church, because not the people who walk around pretending that they're Christians and having a form of godliness, but they're doing witchcraft and every evil abomination in church and serving and worshiping other idols. Those are not God's children. These are people who portray themselves as God's children. But the Lord said in the word, you will know them by their fruits. Watch what they do. If they're not following and they're not living in righteousness and walking in righteousness, and they're not following God's word, and they're living in a life that's contradictory to what God says, it contradicts what God says in his word, then they're not his true children. These are wolves disguised as sheep. So stop looking at people who pretend to say, oh, they're children, they're in the church, they do this and that. Look at their fruit. Are they living a holy life? Are they living a life that contradicts God's word? Are they walking in sin? Are they walking in love? Are they doing things that, God says we're not supposed to do in his Bible? And that's the thing. So the reason why I'm making this video, because I want to show people my current situation and how the kingdom of darkness has attacked me to the point, this is how I have to live. This is what you all do to people who do magic arts and attack people on jobs. Now, I gave a thorough history of how I was attacked on these jobs back in Pennsylvania and Ohio. And if you watch my video exposing evil corporations, you'll see some of that. Now, when I was in Pennsylvania, I also had two jobs. I started first at Benefit Vision, where I met a man by the name of James Penny III, who I talk about in my mini documentary called Why I Wanted to End It. Now, this man was heavy worshiping Satan, and he was a vessel for the kingdom of darkness. He was a vessel for Satan, and God revealed all of this to me. He attacked me relentlessly while I was on the job. He pitted up his entire organization against me. I was fighting against Illuminati the entire time, did not realize it. But what they did was they assaulted me spiritually on the job. I would have spiritual attacks. I would have physical attacks. My children would get ill constantly. My daughter started getting sick first. She got to the point where we would have problems in school. She got beat up in school by another child who gave her a concussion, and the Lord showed me that the kingdom of darkness set this up. They were causing all kinds of hindrances because they did not want me in the job. This man would spiritually do things to me and sexually assault me, and this stuff has been covered up by the kingdom of darkness. The reason why I want to go forth and tell all this, because when I was working, I was able to take care of my children. They had, like I said, we had a three-bedroom townhome. We always had places. We had our own. I moved several times because every time I have a job, the kingdom of darkness will fight me relentlessly. I was getting employment harassment. I was getting harassment spiritually to the point where I couldn't do anything about it. But God saw everything that was happening to me. I would get spiritual illnesses. I talk about it. I'm not going to go too much into detail, but I talk about this in that video. Please watch it. But when I worked, I was able to take care of my kids. We had a house they have their own bedroom. It was fully furnished. They had food in the refrigerator. We had clothes. I had clothes to put on their backs. We had a vehicle and everything. The demonic kingdom, Illuminati, and the demonic organizations that came against us would attack my car. They caused my car to break down. They did all kinds of things to keep us from having anything. I would eventually have to leave my job. I started working at a place in Etna after I left Benefit Vision, where my daughter would started having seizures to the point where the job was telling me, you can't keep missing these days. I had to keep leaving work early to go get my daughter because the school kept calling me. My daughter never had seizures before in her life until she all of a sudden at 15 years old, she just started having seizures out of nowhere, and they were unexplainable. We went to the hospital, doctor after doctor and specialists we saw, who could never give an explanation of why she's having these seizures. But God had already revealed to me that this man was causing these seizures to her by putting something inside of her head, a demon or something that would cause her to have these seizures. Now, miraculously, since she went with Children Family Services, she had the seizures at first, but they put her on some type of medication. Now she doesn't have them. So I was told there was no medication to stop the seizures because they were not epileptic at all. But somehow, I guess they're giving her some type of medication, a depression medication, something where the seizures have gone away. But I already know that that wasn't the cause of those seizures. The Lord told me and showed me. Now, where I live now, I'm going to insert a video showing the current situation that I'm in. Like I said, we were getting attacked spiritually. People were harassing me on the job. I would get sick sometimes to the point where I would sit at my desk and I would have to run back and forth to the bathroom. I would feel nauseated. They would shut off my computer. There was all these attacks on my kids getting ill constantly, and I had to keep leaving work or missing days. And these were all spiritual arrows that the enemy threw at us. I started getting to the point after the physical illnesses wouldn't work and I kept fighting and coming to work. I started feeling a heaviness and burden on me where I didn't want to come anymore. Like all of a sudden I couldn't come into work. And it was a literal fight and pray every day. And the Lord revealed to me that these were psychic attacks. So, the kingdom of darkness owes a lot to God's children, because when you have a mother who takes care, I did everything I could to take care of my children, but we were being attacked spiritually on all ends by those who, work as vessels for the enemy. I was taking care of my kids. I had a home. I took care of them. We bought cars, and every time they would come up against us, they're even attacking the car that I have now, causing it to break down. I had to keep repairing the tires and keep buying new tires. I buy a new tire, and then all of a sudden here comes another hole in the tire. And the Lord was showing me that there are agents sitting here to attack my things. Now, like I'm saying, the person who caused my kids to be taken out of this home, who did all these things to me, sexually assaulted me and my daughter, which was being covered up, he has kept me from working jobs. And I had to move out of my home and move back with my mother's home, which is a one-bedroom apartment, which is not enough space for us. But this is being used against me because Children and Family Services is saying they want to make sure that, my kids have a home to stay and we're not homeless. The thing is, I have a home. I was an intelligent woman who could get good jobs, work. I took care of my kids. There was nothing wrong with me mentally. These were all spiritual attacks, and God knows it. Now, when you hurt someone and take from someone, steal from them, or attack them to the point where they can't have anything, and then you want to punish them, God's going to deal with you. Like I said before, I talk about this all the time. You think that, God's not going to deal with you. I have a video that I made on here called God's going to feed them with their own flesh, and he will. Because you all have done so many abominations. The Illuminati has sat here and attacked God's children because they feel everything in this earth is theirs. Like I said, it does not belong to you. Everything in this earth is God. Satan cannot give anything to anyone that does not belong to him. He has stolen everything from God's people. And God is ready to judge this earth. You have people now who are walking around with things that slaves have built up in this land. Black people who are owed reparations, but they have every foreigner come over here and they give them everything and will not give it to a black person because they want to get out of giving anything to the black race. They want to rather give it to a foreigner who comes over here, immigrant, who immigrates over here, instead of giving the reparations that's due to the black race. You had slaves who you've mistreated and descendants of slaves who come here and you've destroyed them and mistreated them and abused them and taken from them. There's so much blood on your hands that's been shed, and God is like, you need to make payment. You didn't make reparations, so now he's going to sit here and judge. And then they're doing things spiritually. You're doing things behind the rim and using magic and witchcraft to steal things from other people, and you think God does not know it. Like I said, they were attacking me on the job. They did not want black people working at these corporations, so they would find a new tactic. Every time a black person found a way to overcome one thing they threw at us, they find a new device. And there's many black people who have joined them because they want to get their little things. So they join with the kingdom of darkness and fight up against God's children and fight up against the black race and to oppress them. So I am putting this footage up so you can see how I'm truly living. So you can come face to face with what you have done, because you are about to be judged for everything. There's no way that a woman should have to live like this. Now, here's the footage. I'm going to let you look at that. The current situation that I'm living in right now in the one-bedroom apartment where I share with my mother, and I'm supposed to be here with my 2 children. This is our kitchen. It is very small. You see a stove here and a refrigerator. This is a sofa, the chair and sofa that I actually sleep on because I don't have a bed to sleep in. It's just a 1-bedroom place. And this furniture is actually used. It was given to my mom by her sister. I had to get rid of all of my furniture. Like I said, I had to get rid of everything I had because when I had to leave my home, I had to get rid of everything. Brand new furniture, everything I had bought with my own hard-working money. This is a eating area. It's our table. We're kind of / office where, where we sit and eat our meals. My computer's here, chair where I sit at and work on things. I don't have anywhere to put my things. I don't have a dresser, drawer, or anything. We have a very small, like I said, this is a place where we all have to live in this one small cramped up apartment. after I had to leave my 3-bedroom townhome because of all the spiritual attacks coming up against us. This is, you know, this is where we live. This is how we're living. 1 bedroom. Now, as you can see in that video, ask yourself, how are people, a mother and her children, supposed to live in this environment with my mom? How are all these people supposed to fit in one home with 1 small bedroom, 1 small tiny apartment? I don't have any space to put my things. I have no dresser or drawer. Everything I had to get rid of it. When I had all my furniture, I had bought all my furniture, paid for it myself with the money I worked for. And I had to leave my home. I had to sell everything. We didn't even have enough for a moving truck because I had to leave my job, and they kept me from getting any other jobs. They attack you on the jobs, and then you're out of work for months. I was out of work for months. Then I finally got a work from home job at Progressive Corporation, where it was the same thing. They came up against me, were attacking me, stealing my gifts, causing all kinds of problems and hindrances. My computer was shut down. I couldn't get on and log on. All of a sudden I started feeling oppressed where I can't come. They were loosing spiritual attacks at me because they didn't want me to work there then. Doing the work, all of this, they were joined together because they wanted to say, oh, she can't take care of her kids. This man has sent out, his people to fight against me. My father started when the door opened years ago when he offered me up to Satan himself, that God had told me for years, because this same stuff was happening to my mom. People will look at my mom today and wonder why she doesn't have anything, when she worked hard more than anyone. Sometimes she would have 2 jobs at once. She went to college and school and everything, and all of a sudden some things would happen where we would have to move, or she would lose her job out of nowhere, and there was really no explanation for it. And finally, when I got older and I started seeking God, he started opening my eyes and saying that my father was doing these things. And so that opened the door to the rest of the kingdom of darkness coming up against us. And I asked God, why'd you allow this to happen? And he allowed it because now he wants to expose, because other people are being hurt by this also. Other people's lives are being destroyed and ruined. So if Illuminati caused these things, you're going to have to pay for it. You caused these things, you're going to have to pay. We're living like this because you caused this upon us. You attacked me relentlessly on jobs. Every job I had, the enemy came against me and attacked me. Every time I had a job to take care of my kids, I've even written books, even after I lost my job. And so now I'm not working, the Lord had me start 2 businesses. I've written books and everything. The Kingdom of Darkness constantly goes to my webpage. He showed me. He says they go to my website and put up blockages and fences so people can't be directed, so traffic will not come there. Witches go and visit this site every day and loose up fences to keep people from buying my books so I won't have any money. But you want to sit here and say, oh, this is how I live. I can't take care of my kids. But you set it up, and God knows you set it up. So now you're going to pay for it. Yes, I shouldn't be living like this, but this is how you oppress his children. And you have many people living like this to this day, cannot work and take care of their families because you are disgusting and you have come up against them. But God is ready to expose all of you. So yes, Progressive Corporation, Cuyahoga County Children and Family Services, those at Aetna, those who come up against me at Time Warner Cable and CVS and every other place I work for, Benefit Vision, those who are sitting up in the church pretending to be God's children, for distilling gifts and virtues and destinies from other people. God is ready to judge all of you. He's ready to come after every wicked person, every wicked soul who's done these things. He's ready to turn your evil unto your own head. Since you took from me, took my car, took my house, took my jobs, took my children, you're going to lose everything that belongs to you. You're going to lose your houses. You're going to lose your businesses. You're going to lose your jobs. You're going to lose your children. This is why COVID hit back last year and people's businesses were shut down. You still don't realize it. I had prophesied back there in my own basement back in 2018 before I even left Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. God had prophesied through me that this was going to happen, that people were going to lose everything. Some were going to be blowing their brains out because you are so wicked. You still look face to face. Instead of coming to repent for what you have done, you still want to keep hiding and covering up your dirt instead of making it right. Instead of doing giving people what you owe, the reparations that you owe God's children, reparations that you owe the people that God created, who you stole from and mistreated and abused and oppressed. He is ready to seek forth judgment. And, my kids are coming home. The only person who has a say so over this is God. Jehovah Jireh. Thank you.